Hi Sonal, welcome to UX India. I'm Akriti and I will be speaking to you today about your journey and more about your interesting research topic at UX India conference. So, Sonal is a lead product designer at Economist Intelligence Unit, and today we will be having a very revealing conversation with her about her topic at UX India, which is synthetic user research.
Yeah.
So, as a UX designer myself, right, I'll be honest, I have heard about this term for the first time. So, can you tell me a little bit more about what is synthetic user research?
All right. So I think it's new just because as AI is new and from AI we are just driving a lot of new things.
Right.
So synthetic is fake, right? So it's fake users. So I think I come from a background that, as you said, Economist Intelligence Unit. So that's an economist group. So we are B2B product company.
Right.
And when we talk about B2B, we don't get users to, direct users to talk to. So the purchasing user is different from the person who actually uses it. So it's very hard to get hold of these users, to get real insights into the products and get feedback on it. And that has eventually that was a core problem. And then there is budget and there's time constraint, there's so much. And that has actually led us to why not use AI? Why not leverage AI and generative AI into creating these users ourselves and see how it could help.
Right.
So we created these users using generative AI with persona bots, and that's how synthetic users come into play. And then ultimately researching it. So we have done the whole process of it. And I'll be happy to welcome you on my talk where I talk a lot about it.
Right.
But yes, that's basically, using, if you don't get the real users, get the fake users. But I think with that, it is also a very, responsibility of us that we are using synthetic, we are using AI, but we have to be very cautious. Those are not real users.
Right.
So a lot of things come with it. There are a lot of limitations as well.
So, since you are telling about this, I just had one question. So, this whole process of fake users because of certain constraints and limitations, it sort of, like coming to the principles of design, and it does challenge that part.
Exactly.
So, how do you handle that, and what are your thoughts on that?
I think when we do these, I think we have always talked about, ethical design principles.
Right.
And I think we just have to be very cautious that we need to have ethical pillars or ethical rules with AI plus design now.
Right.
So I think for me, we have to be very transparent because alone AI would not suffice. We need a human intervention with it. So if we are doing a research, we have to be cautious that we have to do it. We could start with it.
Right.
It could just be a good starter, like a discovery phase where you use these things. But we eventually had to have a human intervention with it. Human sitting there and checking on all the checkpoints. So I think being transparent when we ultimately talk to our stakeholders or talk to our users or talk to our even team members that these were things that were derived from AI, these are the results, and those are the data that we are getting from the real people. So transparency is one, and then designing with empathy is has been there and it will stay. I feel we have to be cautious when we are designing that empathy will play a crucial role. So that said, human first, I will always put the human first, right? Even if we get to learn something from these researchers, talking to synthetic users, we have to put the human first and say, let's have a real validation as well.
Right.
So if we get 10 hypotheses from these researchers, we could test it with the real users. But that's the whole point, that it is not it's not decision. It's not somebody who's making a decision for you, but it's just helping you move ahead if you're stuck at some point.
Right.
So those are like the ethical responsibilities that we have while we design with AI.
Definitely. So since you are telling about the process, can you tell a little about who these synthetic users are and how do you find them? Like, since you mentioned that you've been using AI, so if you can tell us a little bit about that.
So I think these users are derived from our personas. So I think in every product or every project we do, we know there are user personas that we work with.
Right.
So these are the only ones. So if I had to give you a process of how we build these things, were like we had the knowledge. Like with EIU, we knew what industries we work with. We work with finance, we work with energy, automotives, like different types of industries. So we know the industry those people come from. We know the designations. Like, for example, in a bank, there will be a chief risk officer, there will be a strategy officer, there will be a researcher. So these are different designations that we have. So I think these were the personas, these information that we knew for our own product, plus the real knowledge that the generative AI has. For example, we use ChatGPT for this in our company. And the knowledge of both of them actually made, because if we put, even if today if we put AI into play, ask AI or any Gemini or ChatGPT what a chief risk officer would do in a JP Morgan bank, they would give us a general responsibility list. And so that's the knowledge that we leveraged, that they have that knowledge. We could give what EIU product would give, like what EIU services could provide to a chief risk officer of a bank, investment bank. So I think these were the knowledge that we fed into, and ultimately it gave us a good persona. And that's where it was, we created these different personas. And I think for now, synthetic personas, we have a list of around 160 personas that we have built on, and we now use it for even product and research. That's just one part that we are using. We are also trying it used for salespeople. We are using the same library now. So for example, you are a chief risk officer, for instance, and we have utilized your persona for just having a feedback on a design, for example. But you could also use it to see how the editorial team could write for you. If you're looking for something, how India-Pakistan, that war that happened, how it has impacted maybe China. So I think we could use your persona and write for you. And then even sales people could use it, marketing people could use those same personas. So that library has helped us now to have a kickstart into the conversations that, at the starting of the projects.
Right. So is this the same library which I can maybe refer to, as you were mentioning about journalism and the research part?
Yes. So I think, yes, same library. So we started with research because me and my colleague, who has really helped me technically, because we need a technical background for this. So yes, we could utilize, we started with just a product and research, like synthetic user research, but then we eventually thought, why not use it for other departments and how these teams could also leverage these personas. So we created a library ultimately, so which could be consistent also, right? The same persona, because every time if a different user is using it, if we create persona on the go, it will give different results. So even if we see right now, if we ask the same question from ChatGPT again, it will give different answers. It will not be exact copy paste. So similarly, we created those personas. We used to create it on the go, but then eventually we realized, and then now we have a library that is consistent, and we could just utilize again that maybe, how Ankita, right? Akriti could, use the same products or have the same training or talk about certain same things.
Right. Sonal, I think that's really eye-opening for me as a designer to know about how you are, leveraging AI into so many practices and forming design libraries and these components and stuff. So that's been really insightful. So on this, I have one question. So, since you are into this area of synthetic user research, but at other organizations, teams might not have the practices set for this. So when they start at it from scratch, what are the risks that they might face if they don't do it the right way?
I think we have also, done it multiple times and iterated it. I think it's more about risk. I think there are a lot of limitations that we have to be very careful. I think there are limitations that if we directly use the results of it into creating means just make the decision and implement it, considering that as like the source truth, that should not be done. It is a starting point, as I said, so we should not make decisions on it. It's a good way to start. But so because we have this training data, it's more like a training thing that we have given to a bot, that these are the things, this is your responsibility, and go ahead. So we should assume that there is a limit to it, that it will have its own biasness, right? That training data will have its own biasness. Having said that, in another thing that is also there is what else? I think limits there's biasness towards it, and then there is no empathy, right? I think if the researchers do, means I've been doing user research before this as well, to the real users as well. So there is a kind of natural, conversation that happens, and a user is using the prototype and is making comments on it. Those natural things that come while doing a user research with a real user is different from a synthetic user. There's no emotional depth to the conversations. So those are missing. And that's also valuable when you're using a product. How good that product is, how critical data it is giving us. If a user is not comfortable using it, a synthetic user might not just tell you that, this is not comfortable or something. So I feel that is also a limitation that we have to keep in mind, that we need to be very thoughtful while using the synthetic user research.
Right. Definitely agreed. So I think it requires some certain level of skill set and experience to be able to do this in the best possible way. So like at Economist, how did you... So when you joined, was there a requirement that you have, like you cannot, speak to the real users or...
No. I think I've been with Economist since, I think, 7 years now. So I think when I started, I joined it at a time where we were moving from a legacy product, which was like 20 years back website. And then we were moving into the new age world, so 7 years back. But I think when AI came in, I was still there. I think AI came and I was still there. So I think with the Economist Group, what happened was, our CEO and our managers, everybody has been pushing us to use AI.
Okay.
I think there are so many competitions. There are so many talks about AI. I think this is one of the goals that these, leaders have set for us, that, you have to use AI. And they keep on telling us about it, that, how you can use it. They have even they provide us the tools and they're like, go ahead, experiment, come back with ideas. So we use hackathons for AI only. We have done like 24-hour hackathons within our company. So I think its company also is pushing us. Because in our daily work life, where we are working on our own projects, our own deadlines, we don't have time to go ahead, beyond our capacity and bandwidth to work on other things. But I think they have pushed us in a way that, use it. There will be a hackathon, 24 hours. You don't have to work on your work. You could just spend your time and brainstorm on ideas. And I think the one important thing is, the Economist is not actually totally a technical thing. So they actually value innovation. So we just have to go back after 24 hours with an idea. And maybe a small prototype. So I think these kinds of things have helped us to bring AI into our life, and they have even promoted us with using it in our own work, small things, like how you could use Gemini, how you could use, tools like this, and maybe bring back. And we keep sessions also, like monthly, and somebody has to just present like what they have done in a month. If they have done something very different with AI, they come back and they share with us, and then everybody starts using it. There are so many free tools. There's some paid tools as well. So I think it's the company that has actually asked us to do this, and that has actually then we thought, what are the problems that we are facing as a user, right? What are the problems that we're sitting here and we're not able... Because I've done user research sitting in the company with real users as well, but it just takes a lot of time, a lot of budget, and I think it has taken weeks for us. We spend 2 weeks at least to do a user research for 6 to 7 people. So those kinds of problems that we are trying to solve with synthetic user research, that we could just, the discovery phase, we could do it with AI, and maybe when we reach to a point where we could test it with the real user, maybe. So that's how we are doing it right now also. Then we are launching some products or doing anything. We started with synthetic user research. We built our hypothesis. We built a prototype, and now we are testing with real users. So it just gives more validation to us.
I think with this discussion, I've got some brilliant insights into what happens at Economist, and what all you can really leverage AI for, especially in user research, since that is something where, fitting AI is not that easy, and you must have experienced that. There might be certain challenges attached to it as well.
There are challenges, I think, but I think we've learned from those challenges that this is a challenge if you're not able to solve those kinds of challenges. For example, there is a training data, we know about it, that we are feeding that EIU could do so and so things, and for example, chief risk officer, I'm taking the same example again, but that could just do this. So we are just training that bot, for example, right? So, but we can't do anything about it. So, but we have to be very mindful that that will be a reflection that will come out of it. And the results or the analysis that comes from it, we have to use it wisely.
Right. That's really insightful. So since we are having this discussion, would you be okay with telling us what does a day in your work life look like?
Work life, yes, I think we have a hybrid approach in Economist. So we go thrice a week into the office. So office, I think when we go to the office, it's usually start with coffee with my colleagues. We talk about our challenges for the day, like what we have to do today, right? And then I think the way we collaborate over problems or any kind of planning with my colleagues, I work closely with product managers and design. And yes, I think and developers especially. I think we collaborate over calls. If we are in office, we get into a board, any kind of a boardroom, and we work on it. I think typically it works this way that, and it's a UK based company, so I think most of my managers and my colleagues are also in UK. So most of our meetings start after our 2:00 after our lunch.
Okay.
And I think around 6 I finish my work, and that's how it is. It's a good work-life balance that I have with the company as well.
Right. That sounds fulfilling and also quite meaningful. So thank you so much, first of all, for sharing about your journey and what synthetic user research really is. So moving on to your topic, which is the same at UX India, can you tell us a little about what your talk is about? Maybe just a gist of it, because of course we'll be attending the talk in person as well.
I think I think I have talked about my talk in talking to you. I think I've shared everything. But yes, I think for my talk, I would really give you insight about it, that as we are not able to get to the users directly in a very short amount of time, it takes a lot of cost also. So I think how we could leverage AI and how we could make use of it to create synthetic users and to research with it, and which could be just a good starting point for any kind of project that we work on. So yes, that's my talk about. And yes, I'm going to talk also not only about the benefits, but there are limitations that we should be very careful about. So I think, yes, that's the whole 18-minute talk.
So really looking forward to your talk.
Thank you.
So coming on to the last segment of our interview. So it is actually the most exciting part. So I'll be asking you some rapid fire questions, 5 of them. And simple questions you just have to answer back to back. So are you ready for the rapid fire round?
I'm getting anything. I can't. All right. Yes, I'm ready.
All
Sorry,
right.
it took so fast.
So the first question, what would you describe yourself as in one word?
I'm kind of very open and very honest. I just heard from someone in the conference also. I was telling about an experience and they said, you are quite honest. I'm like, yes. And I'm on my face.
Right. That's amazing to know. So coming on to our second question, what's one book or movie that you find inspiring?
I'm a total like a Bollywood freak, I would say. I'm less into, I enjoy a light movie. And right now I have 2 kids as well with me. So I think any movie. I think recently I watched Zindagi Milegi Dobara again with my kids. So yes, that's the movie I just relate to. I feel that kind of freedom or that kind of life with a break is always needed.
Right.
Then go back to the real world.
Right. It's an amazing movie, true. Okay, so here's our third question. So what's the best part about your entire work day?
I think going to the office is really nice. The atmosphere is not very, sitting on a bench or sitting in an office and a cabin. I think it's quite open. I think the way that even the economists have set up that area. Right. So I really like, even relaxing in between. So there is a small plaza in the between where we could sit, and there's a small library. You can grab a coffee. So I really like that part where I'm just taking short breaks in between and reading something.
Right. That sounds calming, to be honest.
Yes, it is like among all the chaos, there's like, give 10 minutes to yourself and sit in a corner.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing. So here's our fourth question. What do you love the most about UX India?
I think in UX India, I feel, I think it's every time. I think it's not my first time that I'm visiting. It's my like fourth or fifth time I'm visiting here, and first time as speaker.
Right.
But I think I like the fact that we touch about so many topics. It's not about, for example, it's just an example. It's not about AI maybe to this year we are speaking. It's all about, we are talking about different aspects of design, and we always have different topics.
Right.
So that's what I like about that. Maybe these things not interest me. Like the first thing is not, giving me in, but I look forward to the next one. So it's not that there's only one theme. It's always, there are lots of other topics. There are diverse topics that we look into. So that's what I really like about that, how we choose those talks.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So here's our last question. And so if not design, what other field would you have been in?
I'm not sure. But I always wanted to be a radio jockey. I don't know, that I just feel so lively to be that. Right. So listening to them, that they don't have, I feel that they don't have a script. Right. So I just feel that kind of natural that comes from that. I don't know, when I was young, I used to just admire those, and I also participated a lot in my school, and have been the best RJ at the school as well. Wow. So I feel if not that, I would have gone something very creative. I always feel that I wanted to do something creative, so I sided with design.
Right. So thank you so much for sharing, Sonal. It has been a pleasure speaking with you, and I really enjoyed our discussion, and I got so many insights, and I'm really looking forward to your talk.
Thank you so much.
And I hope you have a great time at UX India. I hope you find everything that you're looking for over here.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.